All right, good morning. Today we are going to continue our lesson on systems of equations. This graph should look familiar to you because we covered graphing by substitution, solving by graphing in our last lesson. So, if you can all raise your hand, do any of you have familiarity with solving systems of equation by substitution? Anybody even heard of it? Roughly know the picture? Awesome. Okay, so that is what we are going to be doing today. And it is our second method for solving systems of equation. So we're going to get into our thinking box a little bit. I have what? An apple and an orange, right? Can I physically do anything to these two objects to make one be the other? Can I make this apple turn into an orange? Can I make this orange turn into an apple? No. Probably looking at me like you're crazy. No, I can't make it look like this. I can't make it taste like this. I can't do anything to make these change, correct? All right, flip them around. I have an X and a Y. In math, the cool thing is we can actually do things to variables to make them fit inside the other, to make them substitute one another, and we can't do that in real life. We can't change these two objects, but in math, we can. And that's what we are going to be doing today. So, going into how to solve equations by substitution, we're going to go into our first point. So the first thing we need to remember is that when we are given two equations, we first need to solve one of the equations for one of its variables. Okay? So just one of them for one variable. And it's easiest when this coefficient is 1 or -1. Sometimes you're lucky, they give it to us, you already have that equation or that variable solved for, but sometimes we don't. Alright, so on your Nearpod you will see a quiz after this step. So, we're going to talk about step 1. Now, can anybody tell me, do we have to solve for a variable or do we already have a variable? We have a variable, awesome. So, it was easy in this step because they already give us y. And y is equal to 3x plus 2. So like I said, we're going to have a Nearpod quiz. And if you can just tell me what step 1 is. Awesome, awesome. Seems like you guys are getting the hang of it. Just waiting for more. All right. So we are going to now move on to step 2. So once we have one of our equations solved for one of the variables, our second step is to take what we solved and put it into the other equation. We're going to substitute it in. So substitute the expression from step 1 into the other equation. And now we're going to solve for the other variable. So in our example that we're running through right now, we had y solved for, correct? So all we have to do is take y, what we have for y, and put it in. We have 3x plus 2 is equal to y. So all we get to do is put it in for the equation, and we can just work down and solve, how you guys are familiar with it. So we have 7x plus 4 equals 11, then we have 7x equals 7. You divide both sides by 7, because what you do to one, you have to do to the other, and we get x is equal to 1. Now the cool thing about this is we're basically almost done with the problem. When we're solving these problems, our ultimate goal is to get a coordinate. And that has an x and a y. Well, we already have an x, so we're pretty much almost done with the problem. So keep this in mind, that x equals 1. You can go ahead and answer what step 2 is on Nearpod. You got 1 so far. Good job for getting it correct. Awesome, you guys all got it correct. Makes me so happy. Okay, into step 3, our final step. So we solved one of the equations for one variable. We substituted that variable back in and solved for the other variable. Now, we get to take what we know and substitute the value from step 2. So what we got is x equal to 1. That was our variable for step 2. And we get to put it back into our original problem and solve for the other one. Alright, so to give you guys an idea of what this looks like, since we have x is equal to 1, we take all the x's on our original equation, which is only 1, and so we can put it in. So 3 times 1 plus 2 is that 3 plus 2 equals 5. And that is now our y variable, and as you can see, this is our answer, our coordinate, our x and y value put together. All right, fine on your quad quiz, I promise. If you can go ahead and answer what step 3 is. Really hoping you guys get this one all right too. Yay, perfect. Okay, and just for your information as well, if you're ever slightly worried that you might not have gotten the right answer, the great thing about math is that 99% of the time you can go ahead and check your answer. For this type of problem, all you have to do is plug in what you got back into your equations. So, what did we get for x? We got 1. When we plug it in, does 5 equals 5? Yes, awesome. What did we get for y? We got 5. When we plug that in, we get 11 equals 11. Awesome. If you don't happen to get those, usually that means you made maybe a tiny mistake somewhere in your work, which is a great way to check on a future test that we may have. And if not, it also could mean there's no solutions for this problem. Alright, so we're going to give one a try. So as you can see, I have this written here on the board, what you see on the screen. Don't pay attention to the answer, I know it's there. This is more just for the process to get you guys familiar with how we do it. So if someone can tell me, do we have a variable to solve for, or do we need to solve for a variable? Caleb, what do you think? We have a variable solved for, yes. Okay, so what do we need to do with this variable? Kristen? What do we need to do with y? We need to plug it in. So I'm going to have 3x plus 2x plus 5. Now just for you all to see, this is what y is. And we're going to be equal to 10. All right. Annie, do you want to tell me what we can do next to continue solving this problem?
You can combine.
We can combine our x's because they are in the same family. So we have 5x plus 5 equals to 10. Now this step might be a little tricky. What we do to one side, we got to do to the other. Catherine, do you know what we do next?
Do you mean to take 5 away from the first side?
Perfect. We need to subtract 5 from one side, making sure we subtract it from the other side as well. I'm going to come over here so you can see it, and we have 5x is equal to 5. Now who can tell me what x is equal to? Alex. 1. X is equal to 1. So we already have our first of our coordinate, our x. Now to get our y, what do we have to do, Sarah? You are 100% right. So we are going to go ahead and take our x, plug it back in. And can anybody tell me what y is equal to?
10.
Go ahead. What is it?
10.
Not 10, 7.
Oh, so
I had to give you. Alright, and as you can see, that does go with our answer on the board. For example 1, it is 1, 7. Alright, so this is when you get to try it. If you flip over your exit ticket, which I'm going to hand to you, the front part of this you're not going to do yet. It's just the back part is going to be used as some scratch paper. And you are going to go ahead and solve this problem on the board. Now again, I know the answer is there. I'm not so much concerned about that. I just want you to get the process down. So like I said, use the back of this, and I will be around if you have questions. And if you just look at me when you're done, that would be great. And if you have questions, stop me along the way. looks like we're almost wrapping up here. Alex, can you tell me what you did for step 1? Now, I know what I would do to make this a little easier, but I want to find out what you did for step 1.
I added y to the sides.
Perfect. I was really hoping you'd say that, because in this case, it's super easy to do that y, because our coefficients are 1 to start off, and for 2, you add y over, you're not dealing with negatives on that first equation, which is always the better option. Okay, Caleb, can you tell me what you did for step 2?
Well, I substituted what I got for x into the second equation, so it was 3 plus y plus 2y equals -6.
Awesome. And then, as you know, we go through the steps to solve it out, and you all should have gotten 0, -3 for your answer. Now, does everybody have any questions before we move on? No? Okay. All right, now it is time for a game. So you are able to put those exit tickets aside, and if you can type in Kahoot to your search bar, and we are going to play a little bit of a review game. When the code comes up, you will be able to put it in on your screen. I got 3 so far. Got 4, waiting for 2 more. There's 1. Awesome. Okay, we're gonna go ahead and get started. Everybody get a game face on. Systems of equation by substitution. Step 1, solve for one variable, true or false. Perfect. See the results? Yes, you got all right. All right, lead. What method was used to solve our systems of equations today? Substitution. Now, we did learn about graphing previously, so I tried to trick you guys, but it didn't work, obviously. All right, question 3. Which equation is already solved for one variable? That is correct. Y is equal to -8x plus 4. Question 4. What is the answer? Remember how we need to format our answers. Did everybody get their answers in? Okay. Alright, 1,6. Last one. What did Ms. Harris use to introduce our topic today? Apples and oranges. And remember, it is quite interesting that in real life we can't always substitute things, but that is why math is so cool and awesome, because we can. Alright. So Alice won. And someone, T. Alaska was on fire. Alright, you guys can go ahead and put feedback results if you so choose. If not, you can go ahead and close your iPads. Now on your desk, remember you have the exit ticket. You need to flip that over, what you use for scratch paper, and you will need to complete this and hand it in to me before you may leave the classroom. And when you come back to class tomorrow, you will be having a quiz on this material, so this is a great way for you to see what you know. And also if you guys think about the peer review. Alright, please fill out your exit ticket, and I look forward to seeing you all in class tomorrow.